Hi everyone, welcome back to the Untangling Aging Series. Today I'll be talking to Professor Andrea Maier, the Onchusan Professor of Medicine at the National University of Singapore and the co-director of the Center for Healthy Longevity.
Hi, Professor Maier. Thank you so much for taking your time to do this interview with me. And just jumping right into it, would you like to give a little self-introduction so we know a bit more about who you are and what you're up to?
Sure. Andrea Maier, I studied medicine and became an internal medicine specialist and geriatrician. I always wanted to study sea biology and I want to study art, etc. So I think that's a little bit reflective of what I do in my daily work. It should be fun to do it, so that's very important. And now I am heading the Center for Health and Longevity, which is at the National University of Singapore, and really trying to bring health and longevity medicine into clinic.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's like you're doing a lot with like your journey with like the traveling to different places and also like, both aging biology and also medicine. So you've been doing so much. I'm really curious, what is your story behind this path from getting like a medical degree till now? Like, what is your journey?
I would say that it started before my medical degree. So I grew up in a GP practice. So I got lots of viruses and bacteria because every time there were sick people in our nearly living room. So we had it at our house. So I always grew up in the medical sector, suppose parents being involved. So there was always curiosity, and I think at a certain time in your life you have to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I have to study something else. But I went to the path of studying medicine, which I do not regret. I always did research during my medical studies, so I started quite early. I still can remember while being a medical student that looking through a microscope and seeing the anatomy of an organ, it's like beautiful. It's like real art. You didn't need so many antibodies. Just look at it, and you already see the beauty. So I was involved in research quite early because I think at that point in time I already thought it might be quite repetitive just seeing patients all the time. It's not that I don't love seeing patients, but it's and there's lots of variety, but adding a research component, adding a teaching component was something for me. I went to lots of universities, I went to lots of countries, and in the end also doing the registration for being an internal medicine specialist after lots of switches in different countries. So I ended up in the end, while I studied in Germany, in the Netherlands, to have the geriatric department. So really being there was able to implement new types of care, new kinds of models of care. But I always did research in the laboratory at that moment in time, looking at fibroblasts and looking at repetitive senescence. And if we can, with the overarching idea, can we bring something from in vitro culturing? Does it relate to clinical characteristics of human beings? Because I love biology, but in the end, if that's not really associated with a phenotype, and if I don't see the clinical relevance, I'm not so interested anymore. So for me, it's very important that it's translational. So I did that in lots of biology of aging. And at a certain time, while also moving lots of countries and having management positions in hospitals, at a certain time, lots of people ask me, where can I get your treatments? I said, what treatments? And they were asking, yeah, of course, health and longevity. I want to live longer. This is all what you write up in articles. Like, where can I get it? So after 15 years of deliberation of starting a longevity clinic, now here in Singapore, I started a private longevity clinic, but also now in a public hospital, which is quite nice, because in the end, I would like that everybody has access to measuring the biology of aging, but also to interventions. So that's a little bit the journey. I can tell you there are lots of ups and downs, lots of downs, really to a stage that I said I will never do research again. And then you're meeting a good mentor, and then you're saying, oh, maybe I should restart again. And then the journey afterwards, after lots of, I would say, bad mentorship or bad supervisors, or no, not that this is a bad supervisor, but it was just not a click, and then the research project maybe was not so successful. The trajectory was much better.
Wait, I am actually curious. So what are some of the downs? Like, what was it, the challenge with like aging biology research specifically, or
No, absolutely not. So I started doing research in psychiatric units, psychiatry and medical services, to really improve the care of individuals who are just a little bit different than the norm. So having a psychiatric disease, think about depression, and a medical disease, endocrinology, and we know that their metabolism and their aging trajectory is very different. So I really wanted to look at different care models at that moment in time, but I then also did research in the lab to see why people are more getting COPD, for example, and if there would be bacteria or viruses involved. But all these research projects, I was a little bit feeling that I was on my own, because I was not embedded in bigger groups and really supervisors who were leading the field. And I think if I can give one advice to younger individuals than me, or in the trajectory, search for a group where something already is established, and not the supervisor just looking for a couple of hands to do their idea about not having yet a big group or money, etc. So, and as a youngster, I didn't know at that moment in time. I think lots of youngsters do not know, because it's a nice person, let's go for it. But I think enabling a very good career, or the propensity that you can do that, choose a little bit a more established group or established researchers.
Okay, thank you for the advice. I'm interested in medicine, but I'm also very interested in research as well. So that is something I will keep in the back of my mind. So you also do a lot of things, like whether it's research or like clinical practice, or even like working with the industry. So how in the world do you balance your time given so many initiatives that you're a part of?
I think you should ask my husband. No, it's about time management, and I think it's about passion. When I finished my PhD, and I did my PhD during all the process to become an internal medicine specialist, so being a resident in the hospital, I think I wrote down, I never worked a day in my life, and that felt like that at that moment in time, while seeing patients all day long and at night culturing fibroblasts and being in the lab until after midnight. That was okay at that moment in time, and working hard, I think, is good, and having that feeling that it belongs to you and that you really love it, I think is very important. It's not about the hour, it's not about what you do, but in the end it counts. Is it you? And if it's you and it's your passion, then it really doesn't matter. So I think I never count hours. I don't count projects. I only do the ones I really love. I can tell you at certain stages in a career, you feel, maybe I'll work today. And then you have to go back and say, what was actually the little piece that you thought, okay, this was not just fun and a hobby, but it was real work. And then you can hopefully decide to maneuver a little bit more again to the hobby.
Wow, I can really sense that passion, and I feel like that is definitely the ideal, to always love what you do so much that it doesn't feel like work. It's also something that I hope to find for myself eventually. So that being said, you're very passionate about longevity medicine. So what is your vision for the Healthy Longevity Medicine Society that you've helped establish?
It's the society is a vehicle. So bringing individuals together, I think we have to first decide, what do we want, how healthcare looks like. I am a conventional healthcare professional, and at a certain time, I think too late, I saw the light. Hey, we should do something else. I was very used to see diabetics in clinics when they had diabetes. I was very used to see and prescribe antihypertensive drugs already in individuals who had at that moment in time hypertension. And I was the physician actually saying, okay, the glucose and the blood pressure is still okay. I will see you back in 6 months' time or a year's time. So reflecting on that, because this is how physicians and I grew up to do that, while knowing what's happening during the aging process, I think we should reflect on that. And I think this is what the movement is at the moment. Okay, we are declining already in all our organ functions from the age of 20 or 25. Doesn't really matter, but we are declining heavily until we have a disease, and we are just neglecting that. So what I try to achieve with lots of brilliant colleagues is the idea, can we not just say normal is good enough, but can we optimize individuals that their propensity for a certain disease is much, much lower in 10 years or 20 years time? Always to see, okay, what do you want to achieve in life? Where do you want to be in 20, 30 years time? And how do you want to feel now? And this is an absolute change from the conventional healthcare system, that we now say, okay, we can optimize. We don't need to just accept the decline. And now we also know that aging processes are very likely to be the reason for the decline, and we understand it much, much better. And it's very likely not because of replicative capacity, what I studied in my PhD, but we have so many more researchers now really focusing on the biology of aging, bringing that together with medicine, like it's beautiful. And then, the Health and Longevity Medicine Society was born.
Yeah, that is like such a beautiful vision. I have to say, I would much more prefer this version of healthcare. But given that current healthcare system is like incredibly conventional, are there any challenges that like the concept or like the potential like field of longevity medicine faces currently, or do you find that it's very easy for other people to accept it?
Change is not easy at all, and none of the specialities, and especially not in healthcare, because healthcare, and this is a good sign, is quite conservative, which is good because you have to keep what works. And I also do not want to change so much the conventional healthcare service. What we really try to do is adding something else and give people the choice to either wait until you have the disease, or choosing optimizing their health, that their risk of the disease is much, much lower. So I would say we are not even at the toddler stage of growing up. I think, as I just told you, the HLMS, the Health Longevity Medicine Society, by the way, it's hlms.co if somebody wants to see the website. Like we are now a little bit more than 13 or 14 months old. So, and it's a huge success because people meet each other, people are educating each other, people are writing guidelines with each other, that we are additive at the moment. And we have to see how evolution works out in the next coming 10 to 20 years, I would say, how much conventional medicine we will have, which is not now, and how big health longevity medicine will be. And we will only be successful if we are bringing evidence into the arena. And I think that's the reason why I'm arguing so much that we are doing lots of randomized control trials. We are only implementing the diagnostics and the interventions which are evidence-based, which is very dear to my heart, and not just biohacking ourselves and not just trialing out whatever and let's see, because and there's one, and it also worked with your friend, there was implementing that in clinical practice. Another point is, you just mentioned wellness, that you're interested in it. I think another point is there's a lot of overlap, and I think also sometimes misused overlap with the wellness space. I think wellness is beautiful. Think about having a massage, you're feeling better, your sleep is better. That's fine. Or going to the sauna, fine. I also have a sauna at home. It's great. However, I think we should stick to the hardcore medicine, really trialing if something works or not, and then prescribing and bringing that into the medical sector. Whereas the wellness sector is increasing, etc. I'm very interested in it, but I think we have to really disentangle the two to, in the end, to be successful, and not just the wellness plus physicians in the end.
That's a very good point. So currently, how many longevity clinics are out there? Like, how many longevity physicians are out there? And what exactly is your like ideal vision in like, say, 20 to 30 years for the growth of like longevity physicians or potentially the clinics?
We do not know. That's the answer. We do not know how many clinics we have. We do not know how many physicians we have. And why is that? It is because longevity is not regulated. So if you want to become a surgeon, there is a certain path, and the pathway is defined depending on which country you are in. For longevity, it's not, because longevity and even longevity medicine physicians do not exist yet, because it's not in the medical system, because it's not regulated. So most of the times, there are internal medicine specialists, some are surgeons, some are GPs who are interested in the longevity approach, who are now part of the Health and Longevity Medicine Society. So one goal of the Health and Longevity Medicine Society also have a registered specialism you can actually apply for, where you have good education, where you do your courses, you do your exam, and then you can put it on your title that you are a health and longevity medicine physician. So I'm getting even more cautious, becoming more cautious to put it into my LinkedIn account, etc. I think what we have to establish is health and longevity medicine first. What is it? What are the frameworks? Before saying we are longevity medicine physicians, because it's not existent, and we have to respect that. And because otherwise, everybody who says, okay, I think I am interfering with health and longevity, can say, okay, I'm an expert, and I think this is a bad habit.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense. So technically, it's like just traditional physicians, but after they understand like the framework, then they can have that type of certification. That makes a lot of sense. So how exactly does like Kai Longevity say? Like, how does it run? Like, what would be a day in the life of a physician there? Would it be like very different from a physician like in like another type of clinic?
Yes, so now you're referring to the private clinic I co-founded in early this year, and we are up and running now since February this year. It's very, very exciting to really put it into clinical practice. So yes, my clinical team is seeing patients, and they have intake calls, they answer questions, people come in for the assessments. We really focus lots on diagnostics, and then really targeting based on the diagnostics, the intervention, and personalize these. I must say we are an evidence-based longevity medicine clinic, so you will only see therapeutics which we know are proven to work and are even tested in humans, because lots of stuff is not even tested in humans, and only, for example, in mice or in C. elegans or in Drosophila, etc. Or there are lots of therapeutics which never have been evaluated if they do harm or if they're good, and what the effect size is. So lots of investigation diagnostics. Our clients come in for 5 hours to really screen them on everything, like from toe to hair to organ systems and to their psychology. Their lifestyle habits. We have lots of technology being included. We are tracking our patients and our clients, what they do and what they not do, when they're happy, when they're not happy. So we have lots of technology being included. And after getting all the biological and the clinical and the digital data in, we have a reveal. We always say, get to know you. It's roughly 2 hours where really every organ system is being presented on the screen, and then together with the medical team and the client, the patient, we are deciding what to do, what not to do, where to go first to optimize the body. And of course, then it's a trajectory, because we are aging constantly. So we also need to maintain ourselves and do interventions constantly. And then we are retesting, as in every medical specialty. Look, if you're treating diabetes, what you do, your first diagnosis with glucose, HbA1c, you give insulin and you're measuring it again. And the same we apply in longevity medicine in my clinic with lots of different diagnostics, which are very innovative.
Wow, that sounds so impressive, so cool. If I ever visit Singapore, fingers crossed for next summer, I would love to go there and check out like what exactly is happening there. I also know that you've been hard at work to like push this out into like the public sphere, like with the hospital. So how is that journey like, and like how is it looking like right now with the is it the other practice that you won, or?
Yeah, so I think it's very important not only have private practices, but also bring it to the public services. Already 15 or 18 years ago, I wrote a grant to bring it to another hospital where I worked at that moment in time, to open a longevity clinic at that moment in time, but it was just too early. I was too early, so it was heavily rejected. But yeah, now it's existent. So we have, within our preventative program in Alexandra Hospital, we have a clinic where we're really tackling healthy aging, and with as an outcome, we are tackling the aging process, and that's running well. We have lots of interest from the public. So I think this is the first step to really see, okay, how should you implement it in public health? Who's going to come? What is the investment, not only financially, but especially from a time perspective? What do people know? And we do lots of studies at this moment in time to actually see how to implement it and how to bring it from private services much broader to all citizens.
That is so cool. That is a major, honestly, like that is a major girl boss moment to like bring this out and like to help affect the lives of like so many people in Singapore. I really admire that. I also have a kind of like a fun question for you. So if you had extra healthy years, what would you do with them and why?
I think I would keep working. What I would also do is really exposing myself to the biodiversity, to nature, etc. What I love in my free time, I love to renovate houses, old houses, to keep them alive and to bring back the beauty. In the Netherlands, we are living in a shipyard from 1650, so I love it. So it's lots of work, and I love to do a little bit of architecture work and design, but I also love to just be without an iPhone and internet, etc., to be in nature. So we do that once a year for a couple of weeks. We just came back from Botswana. It was just beautiful to just be in nature and to be able to see how you survive in a biodiversity, which is just incredible. So I would absolutely spend more time, but also advocate more for the beauty of nature, and advocate against the distinct of the decline in biodiversity, etc. So that's a little bit what I do at in free time.
Oh wow, that's actually amazing. I didn't know that was also one of your passions. I did like a lot of pollinator activism, and I'm also a very big nature lover, so that's very cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's activism, but yes, because I have to be careful. I also have a university job, what to say and what not to do.
Oh, but yes. I was a pollinator activist.
Yeah. You can be vocal, yes, and that's important. Influence the agenda.
Yeah, very fun. So final question is, I'm wondering if you have any advice for people like me. So I am an aspiring physician, but I also have a burning interest in longevity and aging biology. And these are also two interests that you hold dear and that you also combine. So given that I'm an undergrad, like with these interests, do you have any advice for me on how I should like pursue them?
keep on having that fire, I would say. You have the burning interest, so keep keep on doing so. Most importantly, is not so much have a strategy where you would like to be in 5 and 10 years time, because you already have that, because you have the passion. You want to become a physician, you want to change the health of lots of individuals, I assume. So you know what your trajectory from a content perspective looks like. Don't worry so much what's next year in 10 years time. People will reach out. But what you should do, I think, having a mentor that you know what's out there. And just if you have to make a decision, because there will be lots of possibilities in your lifetime where you have to choose, just reflect with somebody you trust.
That's good. Also, like, just a side little question. So let's say like you're a physician, but you're really interested in aging biology, but you don't necessarily have a PhD. I feel like a lot of physicians are like pretty like practice heavy. So like, how would they stay on top of like the longevity field, given that it's so cutting edge? Like, is that possible?
Yeah. That's absolutely true, because even if you write a normal textbook for medicine, it's, I would say, outdated nearly if you look at endocrinology, maybe not endocrinology, but oncology within 10 years' time. So you have to keep yourself up to date. And that's the reason why we have HLMS, because we can educate individuals based on what they should know, what the latest innovations are. And I think in our field, everything is new. There are so many articles. I think keeping yourself on top of whatever, and also choosing a little bit your specialism within the health longevity medicine space is very important, to become a specialist in that field. But if I'm very honest, we haven't sorted that out yet, because everything is growing so heavily. There's so many randomized controlled trials at this moment in time. And I have the luxury, because I have a university position, to also have time and speak to so many people to keep me up to date. And they're always keeping my team up to date. And the only thing what I try to do with my colleagues in the council and also the members within HLMS is to, because we are at the forefront of all, and we are doing the trials ourselves, to just disseminate that very, very, very quickly. Another point is, what might also be interesting, not only for you, but also your followers, is the newly founded Academy for Healthy Longevity here at the National University of Singapore. It's being led by Professor Maier. I am also involved, and what we have is not only executive classes to train executives what kind of decisions they should do in hospital systems or in businesses, but we also have the talent incubator. The talent incubator is a 10-day program. It's running again in June. We had the first one in July this year. It will be running in June 2024, where we bring the most enthusiastic, on fire individuals for aging, the biology of aging, public health. We are bringing them together. They are all a little bit at your stage of their career. We are incubating them together with staff on the campus. So we also stay in the student houses as mentors. And we have lots of lectures to really create an ecosystem of people who want to become a biologist or mathematician or whatever in the field of aging. And it was a huge success.
Wow. And it's like happening again next year as well, right? I did like look at it, and given that I do have plans to hopefully come to Singapore next summer, that is definitely something I would love to apply for. And for anyone who's listening to this, so many things are going down in like NUS right now, so many exciting things happening. So yeah, like everyone should definitely check that out. And that's the end of my list of questions. Thank you so much for giving me like so many answers and so many things to think about.